right, so starting off, what we need to do, we go over here to the data. We had two tables. So what we're gonna do is take this data and we're gonna make a third table. So we'll have data, data one, and data two. Going back over to our sheet. We're not changing YF table ID at all. So that's still coming up with our 1, 2, and 3. And then we need to also pull in one other source. We're going to add a connection here, the text file, CSV file. Go ahead and open this up as well to show. Simply 1, 2, 3 in Excel, saved as a CSV. Okay, we're going to click on data here. Pull this into the table, inner join, just for the data source, create join calculation, type 1, over here, select F1, and go back to our sheet. We're going to go ahead and rename this ID. Create a dimension with this. Then after we have our ID here in dimensions, go ahead and pull this onto the table. And then we're going to make some changes to this volume Gantt here. So right now it's looking at YF table ID, which is based on the data sets of 1, 2, and 3. So we're going to make some changes here. Paste this in. So this first one is still correct. Basically looking if it's scenario 1 in our first data set, then it will take the volume there. This one is scenario 2 in our second data set minus scenario 1. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add basically this again for table 3, except for it'll be coming from table 3, scenario 2 only. However, I'm also going to create parameters so I can actually select the scenario. So I'll go ahead and paste this in to show you what we're going to be coming up with. So we need to create these two parameters, scenario start and stop. So basically just replacing 1 and 2 or the scenario names with the actual scenario name. So let's go ahead and create the parameter. The parameter will be based on the scenario name as well. So I went ahead, picked the name that we were going to use, changed data type to string, click on list, add values from our scenario. So this is just the scenario that was already in the first data set. Go ahead and click OK. Create a duplicate of this, edit, and this one is called stop, so the next one will be start. And then same thing, same scenarios, no changes other than that. All right, now let's go ahead and show our parameters. So by selecting these, it will adjust the formula in the volume. So if I put scenario 1 as my start parameter, which will be this column here, it'll show scenario 1. If I select scenario 2 on the second, then it'll show up in this final column here. And then it'll show the deltas between those two scenarios. So I still have a little bit more work to do here. So previously for the sign, we basically we're just using YF volume Gantt and then putting sign on it. This time we're going to do it a little bit differently to make sure that we get the correct sign for the color. So I'm going to make a calculated field here. YF sign color Gantt. I'm going to paste this in. So we are only wanting the color on the inner section that is actually showing the deltas. The columns in the first column and the last column are going to be totals, so we're going to want those to be a different color rather than the green and red. So go ahead and hit OK there. And this is basically just showing the same exact formula that we had in the volume Gantt for the middle section. So it's taking start parameter and subtracting from the stop parameter just because we need the color to be going the opposite direction. So go ahead and hit OK. And then we're going to go and replace this here. Okay, so as you can see here, it is showing the correct volume over here. Right side still not quite right, but we are showing our deltas correctly here for our 4 customers. And then ending up at the total of 518 starting from 485, that is correct. So we just need our 1 bar here in this third column. So let's go ahead and set that up. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and remove our totals. Go to analysis at the top, totals, show row grand totals, remove that third column. And then we need to adjust our YF customer. So this is saying table 1, if it, and only if it's table 1, do scenario 1, otherwise customer. So this is coming from table 1 for this first column, and then otherwise it's customer, and then we were doing the row grand totals to get that third column. But we're going to change this, and instead what we're going to do is we're going to say if table 1, then scenario start parameter, so what you select here. If table 2, then customer. And then if table 3, then scenario stop parameter that you select over here. So we'll go ahead and hit OK. And now we're getting the proper columns that we're wanting. Scenario 1 starting at 485. Still have the correct volume changes for each of the quarters and the correct ending, which is 518. The label is showing negative 518 just based on the way that the math is working for the sign color to get this to go to the bottom. We can clean that up later. All right, next thing that I want to do is set up a couple more parameters to allow us to choose whether we want to see customer or product or both. So we're going to set up 2 parameters. Call this one first dimension param string list to customer, enter product, enter none, enter. Click OK. We're going to duplicate this, edit, change this to second dimension parameter. We're going to use the same. Everything else is going to be exactly the same. Click OK. Let's go ahead and show these. All right, let's go ahead and just put that one on none for now and then just keep customer. Now we need to make, all right, now we need to make a calculated field. We're going to call this one first dimension. And what we did here was an if statement. If this first dimension param is customer, then we're going to use the YF customer. If it's product, then we're going to use the YF product. If we wanted to add more, we could add it and put region and then have to create a new YF region instead. But for now, we're just going to keep those two. So what I'm going to do now is remove this YF customer from there. Go ahead and put our first dimension up top. And then we're going to duplicate this first dimension, edit, change this to second, change this to second, and this to second. All right. So now we have a way to select customer, product, or none. We're going to add the second dimension on the columns as well. So now if we turn both of those off, we see our 485, our 518, and the delta to get there. Add in customer, you can see the deltas to get to the 518. Product, similarly. And then customer and product. Now our third column is showing up incorrectly, so we're going to want to take care of that. So we need to also fix our product, YF product. Let's pull that back into the correct folder. So we're going to do pretty much the same exact thing that we did last time. So let's go ahead and copy this over. Edit this. And instead of customer here, we're just going to change this to product. Okay, so now this should be working properly. Customer, product, or none. Customer, product, or none. And then we could do customer on the first one, product on the second one, or product, and then customer. Now we do have an issue with the colors here, so I'm going to want to fix that up. All right, so we're going to want to get some custom colors in here. So what I need to do is find my Tableau repository, which is in my documents. And there's this preferences.tps. I'm going to go ahead and open this up with Notepad. And what you see will just be workbook and slash workbook unless you've already added anything in here. So you're going to need to add the preferences, close preferences, and then color palette name. So this is whatever name you choose. We are going to be using ordered diverging, so you'll need to use this type exactly. And then I'm choosing three colors, a red, green, and a dark gray. So the dark gray will be in the middle. So up here it'll be red, dark gray, and then green on the far right. So go ahead and save that, and you will need to relaunch, close all your Tableaus, and then reopen it. And at that point, you will be able to go over to your legend, edit colors, and you'll see this red-green diverge that we have. I'm going to set this to 3 steps and apply. There we go. So that's looking quite a bit better now. So it looks like we are getting some gray, so we can fix that by going back, going to advanced, and we're going to set the start to -1 and 1. So everything right on the outside of 0. So we'll go ahead and hit apply. And now everything that is over 1 will be, oh, let's go ahead and reverse the colors there. All right, so everything that's over 1 will be green. Everything under -1 will be red. So it looks like everything's working properly here. And we're getting to our 518.